we have seen that the universe is composed of Panchamahabhut. So the body is also composed of Panchamahabhut. And balance in its proportion of constitution leads to health, imbalance leads to disease. Another principle we have seen, it is the poison accumulation. That's the sole reason, rather only reason for the diseases. Hence, detoxification is the only treatment. And hence, in order to detoxify the body, the very constituent of the body, that is Panchamahabhut, are invited for detoxification. And that is what is known as naturopathy or Panchamahabhutik Chikitsa. For example, soil is applied for whole mud bath or local area, mrida patti, mud bed. It absorbs the poison. Similarly, food itself is Prithvi Tattva. So, Ahar Chikitsa is also coming under Prithvi Chikitsa. Then next is Jala. So, water remains in or exists in three physical states: ice, water and steam. Chemically they are same, H2O, you already know. So, all these three forms are utilized in this Jala Chikitsa. It can be internal, it can be external. For example, most of the yogic kriyas like Vamana Dhauti and Shankha Prakshalan and Enema, Basti what you call. So they are also included by naturopathy. So that becomes internal use. External use, there can be foot bath, hip bath. In some painful condition, ice cubes are used. There is warm fermentation. There is normal water treatment. There is steam, steam bath is there or local steam application is there. So all are different modes of Jala Chikitsa. In short, we are discussing here. Then third one is Agni. So sun bath is one of these. And when we say, when we apply warm fermentation, for example, it's a Jala Tattva and Agni Tattva together. Two tattvas are being involved in that treatment. Then Vayu Tattva. Pranayam is included in naturopathy as Vayu Chikitsa. Then just moving in the free air, hill area, etc., where the air is pure, ozone is more. Then wearing the cotton fabrics. Supposing our body is painted by oil paint, within 1 week the person will die. Because we do not just breathe through the nostrils, no doubt, there is a major gate. But there are so many micropores in the skin, they also breathe, they also throw the poison out. And when you are blocking them, person will die. Body is breathing. So, in naturopathy it is said, don't apply oil paint to the walls also, because home is also breathing. You apply distemper, और पहले चूना लगाते थे. So that's the principle. So wearing cotton fabric is also part of that Vayu Chikitsa. And last but not the least, we call it. That's the Akash. Akash is space, ether. And that's most potent because from Prithvi, Jala, it's subtler and subtler Panchamahabhut. This is the subtler most. And that's why it is most efficient for the maintenance of the health is concerned, treatment is concerned. Mahatma Gandhi ji used to call this tattva Arogya Samrat. It's a superior most Bhuta, Mahabhuta. And the use of this Akash tattva is most potent. Even in Udiyan, Bandhan, Navli, we find negative pressure, isn't it? So it's Akash tattva only. And most potent, the peak of detoxification is fasting. Langhana, right from one time, one day, up to 21 days long fasting is prescribed in naturopathy. That is Akash Chikitsa. And with fasting, all the poisons are removed, detoxification. Na rahega baans, na bajegi bansuri. That's the principle. So this is what is naturopathy. And I said naturopathy is curative and natural living is preventive. So when we follow the natural living absolutely, poison won't accumulate beyond a certain limit. So no question of detoxification. There is no need of naturopathy. If there is prevention, there is no question of cure. But when there is problem, of course we have got a lot of limitation in modern lifestyle, isn't it? And so some poison is bound to get accumulated, and so intermittently we may go for naturopathy, Panchamahatma Chikitsa. And if at all we do not do it, sometimes when our inner immunity, inner potency, inner vitality, inner Allen vital, what you call, is potent, then it takes a decision intermittently to detoxify, and that is nothing but acute diseases we have seen. And during acute diseases, you have to rest and fast, and the disease will get cured. No question of dumping antibiotics. They are all poisons. So body wants to detoxify. When we eat, it is not digested. So fresh poisons are formed. When you take medicine, medicine itself is poison, and we are suppressing the detoxifying processes. We are checking. So it is again wrong. You would have seen the advertisement. क्या हाल बना के रखा है, कुछ लेते क्यों नहीं, so and so medicine लिया. So you can understand the advertisement. So that's not recommended in naturopathy at all. Don't suppress. If it is oozing out, let it ooze out. You drink water every 1 hour, warm water, or at the most you may go for some ginger and tulsi kada, and take full rest. Don't eat. Body will detoxify. You have to do nothing. Nature has got lot of intelligence. Body has got tremendous intelligence. Let it work. Don't use your intelligence. In other words, acute diseases symptoms themselves are solutions found by the mother nature. Don't think that you are wiser than the mother nature itself and find solution to the solution. You don't find solution. Solution is already found by nature. That itself is those symptoms of the acute diseases. You just keep quiet. Take full rest, fast, don't eat, and use your mind positively instead of negatively. You give positive suggestions. I am healthy, I am happy, I accept the situations around me as they are, and the disease will get cured by itself. The body will take care. And this is not just theory of naturopathy I am talking about. I personally have experience. Right from 30 years I have not taken any medicine for any flu, influenza, cold, fever, whatever it is. And 20 years back, from falciparum malaria also, I didn't take any medicine. Prior, I used to take chloroquine and all that. So fever used to shoot 104 degree Fahrenheit, 105 degree Fahrenheit, lot of acidity, and again it used to relapse after 4 months, 3 years, 4 years. And after following this 2 days complete fast, and then another 15 days no cooked grain and only natural liquids, that is fruit juices and vegetable juices and the extract as I mentioned, and my falciparum malaria got cured slowly. On 8th day, the WBC count was only 2,500 and hemoglobin only 8.5%. On 9th day onward, the axis got stimulated. The WBC count was 3,100 and the hemoglobin was 9.5, and then slowly, gradually, it got, the plasmodium also got negative, very gradually, of course. This process requires time, but what happened is that the immunity got so strong that since last 20 years again never that malaria got relapsed. Number one. Number two, during that process when I followed that complete fast and rest, never temperature shooted about 1 or 2 degree Fahrenheit. And naturopathy believes that at 1 or 2 degree Fahrenheit temperature our immunity works at its peak. It's a defense system. Don't bring the temperature down by using antipyretics, thinking that you are clever than the mother nature. Mother nature has purposefully allow the temperature to shoot. So these are some of the principles of natural living. Another important principle of natural living is food. So correct food will keep us healthy. That's the principle. Food is for nourishment, as you already know. Another aspect of food intake is the other side of that coin. A coin have two sides, isn't it? One is nourishment, another is poison. Because in that process of digestion, absorption, assimilation, some byproducts, some poisons are bound to get formed, as I said. And they are removed from time to time. But if our food intake is not natural, much away from the nature, then obviously the dumping of poison is this much and the detoxification capacity is only this much. So every 24 hours we are storing more and more poison, and that is the sole reason for all the diseases we have already seen. That's why food should be such that it should have maximum nourishment but minimum poison formation. I can't say zero poison. Poison is bound to get formed, but it should be minimum as per the nature's law. If you take unnatural food, unnatural method, unnatural timing, that is in short going away from the nature, then there is more and more poison accumulation, and that's the reason for all these diseases. So there are actually two gates for poison dumping. One is mind. So to keep the mind cool, happy, that's why entire yogic philosophy, meditation, pranayam, ultimately even asana, kriya, all are concerned with ultimately mind. We have seen last time also in yogic therapy concept. So in naturopathy there is beautiful saying in Hindi, पैर गरम, पेट नरम, सर ठंडा, रोगों को मारो डंडा. Ours is other way, isn't it? Sir garam. So stress is number one killer, that medical science also says. Right from hyperacidity, high blood pressure, up to the cancer, one of the reason is stress in the mind. That's what they say. So happiness is healthiness or health, and health is happiness. So mental contribution is very important. And entire yoga, its philosophy, etc., is concerned with keeping the mind cool, we have seen. So the mental level poison will be minimized. And now food. So one concept is, there are so many parameters. You know, homeostasis is maintenance of the internal environment. So body temperature, you know, fixed 37 degrees centigrade or 98.5 degree Fahrenheit, something like that. There is a blood pressure, you know, normally some 120, 80 systolic and diastolic. Blood glucose, you know, what is fasting blood glucose around 100, 80 to 100 milligram per 100 cc. After food, it should be about 140 maximum milligram per 100 cc. So you know all this. So there are so many parameters, known and unknown, so many, thyroid, you know, etc., etc. Maintenance of these all parameters or internal environment is not homeostasis, and homeostasis is health, and body tries its best to maintain this. One of the important parameter among this is pH. Let us not discuss about the technical definition of pH, but it's a measure of acidity or alkalinity. That much understanding is sufficient for a layman. pH 7.0 is neutral. The distilled water is supposed to have that pH. Below 7 is acidic and above 7 is alkaline. But below 7 how much? It's the 0 point less than 1. Or above is just 14, not beyond that. So maximum strongest alkali like caustic soda, etc., will be 13 point something or 14, not above 14. Strong alkali, and strong acid is below 1. Mild acids can be pH 4 and all that. For example, lemon, citric acid. Or mild alkalis can be pH 7, 8 like soda bicarb, etc. blood pH is 7.4. It means it is slightly alkaline. It fluctuates within a very narrow range, 7.36 to 7.44, such a narrow range. And body tries its best by hook or crook to maintain this pH. That's what health is. Although the blood pH is maintained, but when we dump acids through the mental stress or wrong food, then by digging somewhere, it tries to maintain this, maintaining acidity in some other body parts. Some more acidity is maintained in the bones. There will be osteoporosis. Calcium will be thrown out because calcium is immediate alkali reserve. So like that, all these, first kapha vikar, then pitta vikar, and then vata vikar are because of toxification. And at the end, tumor and cancer. So that is the hierarchy of poison accumulation and the disease formation. That's what they claim. When you do that 21 days fasting, that is 3 weeks, in first week all the kapha vikar, it is detoxified, getting cured. In second week all the pitta vikar, that is liver, etc., are getting purified. And third week vata vikar, that is joints. So anyway, I got opportunity to experience this 21 days fasting only on water. That's why I am narrating this. So important is food. Now 7.4 pH is to be maintained. Anything that will dump acid is a problem. Body tries to maintain this pH by throwing carbon dioxide. It's acidic. Soda water is acidic, Urine is acidic. You have seen the pathological lab report. So continuously body throws out the acid and try to maintain the inner alkalinity. Now Kapalbhati will be helpful, very helpful, because it's a throwing of the carbon dioxide out. Oxygen goes down comparatively. Oxygen increases and carbon dioxide reduces inside. So it is detoxifying. That's why it is one of the Shuddhi Kriya. Kapalbhati is not pranayam. Kapalbhati is Shuddhi Kriya. That's the reason. Pranayam has got a different effect. Anyway, even Vaman Dhauti try to throw the inner acid out. That's why they are Shuddhi Kriyas. Now coming to food once again. Food also can be classified on this basis. Acidogenic and alkaligenic. Now remember this term, not acidic, acidogenic, not alkaline, alkaligenic. Understand the meaning of genic, generation, to produce. So acidogenic means one which produces acid. I will give you a simple example. Lemon is acidic. If you take in stomach, it is acid. But when it is absorbed, that citric acid is absorbed and it is metabolizing in every cell, that Krebs cycle and all that, energy formation, then it ends with alkaline residue, and that's why it is known as alkaligenic. Alkaligenic. Sugar is pH neutral, pH 7.00. But when sugar metabolites inside, burns, it ends with highly acidic residue. So it is known as acidogenic. I hope you got the difference now. Not acidic or alkaline, that is important for us, but acidogenic and alkaligenic property of a food is important for us. So whatever that is alkaligenic is good because our blood is alkaline, and whatever that is acidogenic is bad for our health. Whatever that is alkaligenic is good for health, whatever that is acidogenic is bad for the health. Giving same example, sugar, highly acid dumping. So anything sugar based is bad for the health. Simple. Anything. There can be a big list. Similarly, taking lemon on empty stomach, just squeeze one lemon, drink it, don't touch your teeth in the throat, and then for minimum 1 hour don't ingest anything. That is known as exclusive lemon shot, and that will create Of course, it will give vitamin C. That is also good for strengthening immunity. That's a different part. Similarly, all fruits when taken on empty stomach are alkaligenic. So that's why it is said, fruits taken on empty stomach are like gold, and that taken after food are like iron. And conventionally, how we take the fruits? After eating food, we feel that in that thali, all ingredients we have taken, and there might be some, you know, lacunae, some lesser vitamins here and there, because in cooked food most of the vitamins are getting destroyed. So we eat fruit later on, fill in the blank. But it's wrong. Fruit should be taken exclusively on empty stomach. After consuming fruit, again another 45 minutes minimum, don't consume anything. That is known as exclusive fruit intake. And then we have got full 100% benefits of fruits. So, fruit should be taken on empty stomach. That's why, coming back to that lemon, if lemon is mixed with a carbohydrate, say by adding sugar we prepare limbu sarbat, or we take on rice, or on poha or upma, or bhed, or chutney of idli with idli dosa, or in pav bhaji. Means whenever we are combining, mixing this lemon with carbohydrate, starch is carbohydrate, sugar is carbohydrate, it leads to acid dumping. So lemon when taken on empty stomach, exclusively it is alkaligenic, but lemon when mixed with carbohydrate, it is acidogenic. So that's why combination is very, very important. A wrong combination and wrong process is ultimately leading to poison, and correct combination and correct process, more and more natural process in this sense. More process, better, bad it is. Less process, more natural, better it is. Simple thumb rule of health. So diet can be a very big topic, but in short we have understood that the sugar and refined oil and hydrogenated fat, dalda what you call, then fermented and all packed, preservatives and artificial colors and artificial flavors and additional salt, additional sugar, all these things are bad for health, all packed things. Even non-veg is acidogenic. Milk itself is non-veg in a way. High pulses, chana and soya bean, 40%. So naturopathy do not recommend it. Soya bean, the modern nutrition might be recommending. Although it is tasteless, put some 1 fist of soya bean in 1 kilo of wheat. That's what modern nutritionists are recommending, but naturopathy is against that. Protein is required for the body, no doubt about that. But something having high protein is not good. Number one, it's heavy to digest. Number two, more of protein, in the sense more of amino acid, will also lead to more poison formation, like nitrogenous, uric acid, and then the creatinine, all are bad for health, So that's what the principle. We should take sufficient protein, but through low protein diet. The quantity should be more, quality should be, weak. There they say, let quantity be less and quality be very strong, very rich in protein. It's not bad. These are some of the differences of modern nutrition or modern medicine with the naturopathy. So now alkaligenic part, we have seen what is should be avoided, isn't it? Even tur dal is not recommended. Moong dal having low protein, only 33% protein, is recommended by Ayurveda also on daily basis. So whenever the chana is being taken, then they say pour lot of ghee. For Puran Poli we pour the ghee. That's the reason. Vata, vikara should be reduced as per Ayurveda. So Ayurveda and naturopathy, they go much, hand in hand, much close principles. Thus, what is alkaligenic? As I said, the lemon on empty stomach. Similarly, fruits on empty stomach. Fruit should be taken on empty stomach. Our breakfast, first breakfast should be fruit. Then after about hour gap or so, you may have other snacks. So that's the recommendation by Natural Living. And then all the raw vegetables are alkaligenic. Moment you cook, they are neutral. Moment you make in chatpata by putting lot of spices and giving it seasoning, it turns acidogenic. So that's the principle. So natural food can be lot of fruits, lot of salads, sprouts, few nuts. They are good for us health. Oil is important, but oil not the cheese and lot of fried things, but oil is required. But essential oil, good oil, nuts, very moderate quantities, nuts, they are good. Or some chutney of these flax seeds. Flax seeds are good for cholesterol. It is known as polyunsaturated fatty acid. Some flax seeds and little of groundnut and sunflower seeds, all put together. Til is good in calcium. So all these nuts put together, if you make a chutney by crushing and keep it stocked for some 15 days, 20 days and eat it with our roti, it's good for health. Like that, anything sticky is not good. Anything rough is good. So the wheat and maida, because of gluten, they are sticky. On the contrary, jawar, bajra, nachni, then hand pounded rice, these are having lot of fiber and good healthy grain. So we are not discussing food aspect in detail here, but what I mean to say, naturopathy and natural living includes this Prithvi Chikitsa, that is what is the correct food, what is the bad food, how there should be movement of the body, exercise, walking, and yoga abhyas, of course, all the aspects of yoga, including this philosophy, code of conduct, asana, bandha, mudra, kriya, pranayam, dhyan, together, put together, it becomes a yogic lifestyle. And that's what the natural living is. Means in natural living, the yogic living will contribute a lot, in short. Okay. So, in detail, what are the different modes of detoxifying we are going to study. Then with respect to the so far yoga therapy is concerned, we have taken system wise. So every system has got some diseases. Such 8 system we have taken. So one medical lecture will be given by a senior medical faculty, and then the yogic faculty will give how the yoga looks at those diseases and how the yogic practices can help to cure or serve as a therapy. So that's what in yoga therapy. And naturopathy, the Pancha Kosha concept, the Pancha Mahabhut. So every bhut there will be lecture, how it is connected to diseases and how the yogic practices and naturopathy can help to cure diseases connected to that. Like that, it's a very well designed course, that is diploma in yogic therapy, natural living and naturopathy. It is again about 9 months, we say 1 academic year. Some 2 working days, 1 working day, that is Saturday evening, 2 hours, and Sunday 4 hours. That's what this course is comprised of. Unfortunately, this year, because of this corona issue, otherwise generally on first Sunday of August we start that course, and before that our results are over, and those who have passed in first year diploma in yogic education are eligible for that diploma. But this year we don't know, there is bit disturbance in the schedule, but let us hope for the best. And I would advise that don't wait just by doing this diploma, having certificate of yoga teacher. You complete that course also, because this course is more concerned with to teach yoga for a normal person. And in society nowadays, majority nobody is normal. Everybody is diseased, to smaller or greater extent. So if you are equipped with that yoga therapy and naturopathy also by doing that next diploma, you will be a very confident yoga teacher. You can guide the society. And that's why I would strongly recommend, after undergoing this diploma, having passed, you complete that second diploma also, diploma in yoga therapy, natural living and naturopathy. All the best. Thank you.